Hey, before this video, I just wanted to give you guys a little warning. Your boy's been captured by the Taliban. This is my last video. Okay, not that, I haven't, haven't really booked my trip to Afghanistan yet, but if you ever hear me going to Afghanistan, you know that I'm gone. I wanted to This video is going to be a little different than most of my videos. I'm going to be with my friend Ellie, so I'm doing an interview with her, but if y'all want your normal doom and gloom, the world's on fire content, it'll be back next week. I'm doing an interview. I'm doing my first collab because your boy's made it. I'm famous. But I'm doing an interview with my friend Ellie, and I just wanted to give you guys a warning beforehand because I know that this is going to be different than what I usually do, and I just wanted to let y'all know that. Hey everyone, this is different. I know you're used to seeing my face, you're used to just seeing me, but this other person somehow hacked into my internet and is here. No, this is everyone. This is my friend Ellie.
Hi.
She has her own YouTube channel. I usually go on her live streams, and I think maybe next time I'll try to do a community post so that y'all can show her some love. But no, she is somebody who is she has an ex-Muslim YouTube channel, which is completely different than what we do over here. What we do over here is a little bit of everything and it's perfect. But I just wanted to, messaged me and we just started talking, and we've actually known each other for, it's been like 3 months actually.
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
like July was the first time. And then I think I started commenting on your video maybe like a few months ago.
I
So
think it
you,
was before. I think it was around April time, actually.
maybe, yeah, maybe. But
I
yeah,
remember
so
seeing your smiling face in your thumbnail picture in your profile picture,
yes,
and that really
ma'am.
stood out to me.
Yeah, so yeah, no, this is my friend Ellie. She's amazing. I mean, everyone, I'll definitely plug her channel at the end, but definitely check it out. If you're just not even if you're just ex-Muslim, but if you're questioning or if you're just trying to figure out just a different perspective on, or maybe if you are Muslim or just anybody, I've gotten things from it, even though I'm as Muslim as the Pope. Like I'm not Muslim at all, but the YouTube algorithm gods blessed me with her presence, and ever since then I've just been so blessed.
Well, thank you. Well, can I say as well that I obviously, as I said, I knew Intende from the comment section under my videos, and as I said, I saw his lovely smiling grin, and that's what caught my attention. And then when I started doing lives back in, I think I started it kind of in July time,
Yeah, July.
and yeah, Intende was literally one of the first people to join the panel when we kind of do like an open discussion, and it was just wonderful to speak to you in person. Well, not in person, but on the lives.
Close
And
enough.
yeah, and it was really wonderful. And ever since he's been like, now he's like a pillar of the community, and
I'm
he's
the sixth pillar of Islam is me.
literally he every live you bring so much energy, like so much refreshing energy, always asking great questions, always bringing interesting facts. Like everybody looks forward to Entende coming up
Yeah.
and sharing, and it's just been wonderful. Yeah, because as you said, you had your own journey. You had a close call with Islam.
Yeah.
Thank God you
Yeah,
did
or yeah, I
that,
because
you know.
people on the channel would know that I've read the Quran. I don't know what you've seen or have, but yeah, I made a video of me reading the Quran,
Mm,
and I definitely was. It's interesting when it comes to ex-Muslim content. I don't know why, but it popped up on my recommended, I think a year ago. Like I think a year ago,
my channel
ex-Muslim. No, no, not your
Oh,
channel,
okay. So I
but
was gonna
just
say
like
I haven't been, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, just like I think you were just a part of that wave. Like I think you were just a
yeah,
part of that wave.
yeah,
And so I think by the time I got to your channel, it was so interesting because a lot of ex-Muslims are men that are on like the ex-Muslims. At least the ones that were recommended to me were men.
yeah,
And so it was interesting hearing a more like grounded, just more, and from a convert perspective, because a lot of
yeah.
people are from, they kind of were born into it.
One, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
I think for me, when it comes to like you, Ellie, I'm gonna link. I'm not only gonna link her channel. I think I'll also try to. I'm not the best with YouTube, so I'll try to link also like more context about her because trust me, there's more than enough of her story out there. So I don't want to repeat that. But I
well,
think.
Yeah, sorry, carry on. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
please. I was gonna say, but I think like I've always been interested in it's like when it comes to Islam, what do you like when you're going through a transition? What did you like try to fill the gap with? Because I like my understanding of Islam is it's like you don't just go for it's like quitting smoking or quitting alcohol. You don't just go cold turkey. It's kind of like this thing
Exactly.
where you probably even in some ways tried to go back or tried to like pray 5 times and then you were like back and
That's
forth.
a great point because it's a process. Even leaving the religion was a process. It's really hard to kind of just remember the moment you wake up and realize, oh, I'm not Muslim anymore. But it literally, that's how it kind of goes. So it's like, you get the doubts, and in my case, my life was showing me that this is not for me. This, and I don't actually think this is true. The more I was finding out the things that were going wrong in my life, I just realized that I don't think this is the path to God, at least. And yeah, and so once I kind of realized that I'm no longer a Muslim and
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to, rethink everything, I guess. But strangely enough for me, and it's really like that question's great you asked me because
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
no one, like you said, like this is something I wish people would speak about more. It's like
Hmm.
what happens after you leave, like replacing belief,
Hmm.
because it's so like what happened to me. I think is quite typical. So I just turned my default setting was to go back to kind of almost an atheist kind of worldview. And I didn't even consider any kind of form of spirituality. I just
Hmm.
thought, well, I've had a really bad experience of religion, and
Okay.
I don't see the point anymore. So I think I'm just gonna have to become an atheist. But that in itself was like another awakening for me, because and I try and say this on my channel. I haven't really gone into this as deep as I'd like to, but I
Hmm.
definitely want to in the future, which is basically about rediscovering or anything you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be like, you've had a bad experience with religion, although I completely get it. Like,
Yeah.
I completely get some people are really traumatized. In fact, a lot of people literally they go through so much.
I would
And
even say I have religious trauma with Christianity. I just don't talk about
yeah.
it. I'm
See, exactly. It's so people just I feel like they're so put off by religion. I completely get that. But I was kind of the same, but I think I just think even spirituality kind of gets like, caught up in there too, which I've discovered and realized that it doesn't actually have to be that way. And you can actually put on a fresh pair of like almost glasses lens and see things in a different way. But yeah.
Would you say you're still searching for God? Like, would you say that you're still like trying to find like after Islam, it's like, okay, I grew up one way, I believed this for so long. Would you now say like, you know what, like now you're just trying things that you may have never even thought before, like now, like okay, like instead of and because I think like when I hear stories like yours, I do think that it's like people like go, okay, not Islam, so or I'm an ex-Muslim, so I must be atheist, and then I'm like, but I'm learning that I feel like spirituality is a gray area, and that's okay. Like it's okay for it to be a little bit of like you can take the parts of what you like and kind of create your own thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so the thing is, my understanding of God has completely changed. I again, like I said, so I went through the whole kind of Abrahamic God thing,
Hmm.
and then afterwards, I just, as I said, I had such a kind of bad experience, and obviously, I grew up Catholic too, so that kind of, although my experience with Catholicism was nothing like Islam, but I just assumed, yeah, this God is. I don't believe there is a God
Yeah.
because of that experience. Yeah. But I don't know what happened really. I'm trying to put my finger on when it kind of changed for me. I guess, oh yeah, because I started to I did a kind of course or therapy or something like
Hmm.
that basically,
Yeah.
which was mindfulness based. And that actually opened up my eyes to mindful practices, which can be secular. They don't have to be religious, but they are kind of inherently spiritual, and it's really hard to get around it. There is just a spirituality about it. As I said,
Yeah.
it can technically be secular, but you to do mindfulness, you really do have to tap into a different way of perceiving or understanding how thoughts work and life and all these things. So this mindfulness that I was learning like really, really helped me in so many ways. So all these concepts I was learning about, basically, like, being in the present moment,
Hmm.
mindfulness itself, detaching from thought, detaching from almost like feeling like you are the emotion that you're experiencing, as rather than just understanding that emotions, they kind of emerge inside of you, but they don't have to be, and you don't have to actually follow through with emotions, all these kind of things. Yeah, so I just kind of naturally started to get really interested in that, because I saw that those practices were really helpful for me in so many ways. And the more I looked into it, I was like, hold on a second, like, our understanding of God, our understanding of reality, existence, time, I feel like there's so much like almost either like Abrahamic or like very
There's
rigid.
definitely a bias. There's definitely like, yeah, this kind of Eurocentric or this very,
Yes,
yeah, Abrahamic,
Newtonian.
Greco-Roman. Yeah, I know
Yes,
what
yeah.
you mean.
There's
Western.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is the interesting thing, like, for like, to do with kind of mental health stuff, like, you do kind of have to, like, Western science now, Western medicine is factoring in philosophies from the East to help people. So they're bringing in, like the kind of rigid, not rigid is the right word, but the kind of methodological
Yeah.
way of seeing if something works or not, which is great. I'm not saying that's bad, that's a good thing. But they're actually looking and realizing that Eastern philosophies have a lot of truth and healing powers within them, and they actually work. So yeah, the two have merged kind of together, and that's where these
I
kind of mindful, yeah.
I think we're living in a time where I think actually a new belief is forming because,
Mm,
like, when I look into your story of Islam and when I think of my fascination with Islam and other religions, I think wanting to like I think like I think humans have compasses and I think we all
mm,
point towards something and I think
absolutely,
a higher power is one of the things that we point to. And like you
absolutely,
and I think like when I hear like stories like you and other ex-Muslims, I think it's like it's not that like you're told one thing just because one thing may not be for you or may be false. It doesn't mean everything is false. If
exactly.
anything, that might even I think of it more of like a new awakening, which I know
Yeah.
kind of sounds like hippy dippy stuff
No, but
because
it's but that's the thing, like, and it's interesting you just said that, because so much of our understanding of like awakening, enlightenment, we kind of automatically just associate that with, like you said, like the kind of hippie,
yeah,
like woo woo. But really,
yeah,
there's actually, and this is another thing I learned from doing a mindfulness kind of
hmm.
therapy, but I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe when you edit
Would you
this,
say
I'll
it's meditation? Like, would you say it's like a meditation?
no, it was, well,
It wasn't
meditation was
meditation,
part of it, but it was
but it
um
wasn't. Okay,
it was a type of therapy which
mm,
is based on mindfulness. So,
okay.
yeah, so it was basically all different mindfulness practices, and you use those to
Sounds a
alongside.
whole lot more fun than my therapy was very boring. It was very just tell me about your childhood trauma. This
Well,
sounds
look,
like
that
actually like
works for some people, but then there's other types of therapies,
yeah, no, that
depending on what
sounds way
you're going
more
through.
like honestly, I need to get some NHS healthcare and get, the mindfulness therapy.
Mate, trust me, I'm grateful, but at the same time, like, I got lucky. This therapy I was offered is not widespread at all.
Okay.
Probably
Oh,
because I
okay,
live
yeah.
in London, where they kind of roll these things out, where they have, I guess, more like you have more access to these kind of things. But the rest of the
Okay.
country, unfortunately, yeah. But
Well, no, Ellie,
no,
I think your new purpose now is to spread mindfulness. That's honestly, you've got to
you know
be a
what?
mindfulness evangelist.
There's your intuition again, which I spoke about. It's really interesting you picked up on that too, because that is when I started sharing my story, like, that to me was just like laying the foundation of
Hmm.
why I'm at where I'm at right now. Because I've had a lot go on in my life where, like, so much has happened that I just wanted to get my story out there on the record, and like for my own kind of personal reasons, but also to kind of warn people, like, don't do what I did. But like you said, there is a kind of future. There's like a kind of almost like other lesson to be learned, which is like we're saying here. There's other ways of looking at life. And I do want to share that with people too. Like the things I found which helped me heal, or help me to, well, I wouldn't say I'm fully healed right now,
Oh,
but you know what I mean? Like,
I
yeah,
think none of us are ever. Life is
true.
it's just a healing
It's a
journey.
it's a
It's
journey,
interesting
exactly.
because you said that what you did was secular. So it makes me wonder that, oh my, I almost feel like if you are Muslim or if you are a Hindu or if you're Jewish or if you're Christian or if you're a complete atheist, this mindfulness almost sounds like a bridge. Like it almost sounds like a bridge to in between beliefs.
It is, but it does also, depending on how kind of far you go into it, because
Yeah.
mindful practice could be something as simple as just feeling the ground beneath your feet. Like that's basically just grounding
Okay.
yourself, tapping into the present moment. And every time, like a thought arises, just keep focusing back on the feeling of your feet on the ground. That's a mindful practice. But and as you said, anyone can do that, like
Mm-hmm.
no matter what religion, whatever,
Yeah.
atheist. But this, if you kind of go deeper into the kind of almost practices and like Taoism, for example, like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could start forcing you to question your own beliefs, because although I've seen Christians who happily like bring the two
Because I
together.
feel like you could easily be a mind or incorporate aspects of mindfulness into Christianity, for example.
Yeah, and I've seen Muslims claim that like Salah, the five daily prayers,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
mindful practice, and
Well, I think this goes into like something I've noticed is that I think that when it comes to truth, like when it comes to and what truth is, I can't define it, I don't have my
I don't think
dictionary.
any of us can at this
But
point.
I do think though, like when you tap into whatever truth is, I think the lines all just get blurred and you can't differentiate between whether what you're doing is five Muslim prayers, salah, or what you're doing is mindfulness, or what you're doing is a meditation, or it's in Buddhism.
Exactly.
Because I think
Exactly.
like as humans, I think we're all trying to interpret the same thing
Yeah.
and just whether it's like you're in the UK, I'm in the United States. Well, actually, I'm in Texas. Yeehaw, guys. But no, I think that these things, like what we're describing, I probably if we flesh out mindfulness and then I start saying my experiences, I probably was accidentally practicing mindfulness, but maybe I called it self awareness.
Absolutely. And do you know how I see that? It's like imagine there's a destination which we would call truth in this, in this instance.
Yeah.
Like you can get there to that destination by train. You can even walk, you can take a
Hmm.
bus,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
Or a
matter.
coach. You can also take a coach
Or
to
a
get
coach or a lorry.
there. Or a
Uh, yeah, we might have to put like on my videos, I've sometimes put a little translation. Like might have to
Nice.
put a translation for everyone in the
Oh,
States. But
oh yeah, because this is a very, let's just say my audience is very male, very United States.
yeah, so we're doing a little bit of, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is a yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
no, but
no,
yeah, you can get to your destination.
because the destination of truth is that it's like there's many ways to get to it. And I see religion and spirituality as that, like getting closer to a higher power or God, truth, whatever you want to call it. And like you just said, truth stands alone. It's
Hmm.
there, it's out
Yeah,
there, but it's what vehicle do you use? And like you said, like self-awareness for you was like your method of getting.
yeah, and it probably was because it's funny because when I've only heard of mindfulness because of a TED talk where this person was using it
Yeah.
as a way to help someone get over cigarette addiction. where
Okay. Yeah.
where like mind because the way I knew mindfulness was it's like anytime you want to do something that's bad for you, you should just pause and reflect of why. Like for cigarette smokers, because it made me realize that unconsciously a lot of people do this either with their phone or with TikTok or with maybe I don't know junk food or like just or impulsive spending where you're not even thinking like if you're an impulsive spender, you're not even thinking, oh, like your brain goes through a process and like when I heard of mindfulness, it's anytime you have that urge, just be aware of it and ask yourself
Yeah.
why. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Exactly.
that's so, and it sounds so intuitive. Like when you say it out loud, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? But it makes
Well,
complete sense.
you're right. On one hand, it does exist because when we're children, and especially like very young children, we are just living in the present moment. We just do things,
Hmm.
and we're not consumed with thought. And we that's the difference. But with mindfulness, and this is another thing why it led me to question my worldview was because it's actually about consciousness as well.
When you say
Because
question your worldview, do you mean Catholicism? Do you mean
no, this
Islam,
is
or do you
after
just mean
Islam.
or
This is
atheist
after
or
Islam.
within? Oh, this is when you were still practicing. Okay, I just wanted to
No,
make
no,
sure.
no. After Islam,
Oh,
so after
after
I
Islam.
left,
Okay,
yeah,
it started
because
after you. Okay, okay.
what happened was because I automatically kind of went back to an atheistic worldview because I
Hmm.
think that's what I just thought, well, this is it, you know. And what happened was it actually led me to become very nihilistic. And
Yeah.
nihilism to me is, I mean, some people are happy with being nihilist, but for me, it was like there's no point in life. Like
I think
this is
it's the absence of God. I actually think the absence of God
yeah,
or
I
whatever is
agree.
nihilism.
I agree. Like Nietzsche, you know, like
Hmm.
that classic Nietzsche.
Yeah, like
It's
God is dead
staring
and
into,
we killed him. Like I
that's it,
completely,
and staring
and I
into
think
the
it's a
void.
dangerous place to stay in for a lot of, like, if it works for you, great. But I think in
Yeah,
general, the best for
exactly.
most, you
But
should like.
I don't think I mean, throughout human history, I can't think of a time where we thrived collectively as nihilists. We've always
Hmm.
had goals, and people will say to me, "Oh yeah, nihilism isn't, you know, you can make your own purpose." And fair enough, like we said, I accept some people, that's fine for them. They can live
Yeah,
like that.
but I
But
think
I
that's a minority. Like I think that's a small percentage of people
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't, and the worst thing was there was this whole from the new atheist movement, there came this whole kind of like, "Oh, if you're a new atheist, like, if you're an atheist, you're like the smart ones, you know? Like, you're intelligent, like, religion is for
No,
stupid."
my favorite is I'm a logical person. I believe in science. Therefore, God is not real. I was like,
I know, and, like, I felt like, you know what? Like, I have to be a nihilist, otherwise I'm being like a dumb kind of, you know, and I just it was
or I
harming
don't know.
me,
People
and
make it seem like if you believe in a religion, it's almost like you're either old school or uncool, or it's like,
yeah,
why
or
would you do that?
stupid.
Like, we have modern technology. Why would you, pray to some
Yeah.
invisible spaghetti monster? I'm like,
Yeah. And you know, I couldn't find anything to fill the void. Like this is a thing. Like and I mean, I when I did start accepting, okay, like okay, there's nothing to this. There's just we're just, you know, matter, you know, cells that
yeah.
developed a technology not technological, but like an advanced brain.
Hmm.
And you know, we're all just cells,
We're
atoms
just
bumping
material. We're just
around.
material. Yeah.
I just thought, what's the point? Like, there's no point to this. This is so like empty, and I just thought, and nobody could convince me, this is the thing, and to this day nobody can convince me that that's a fulfilling way to live my life, by feeling like, and you know that classic like, oh, we're just a tiny speck floating through an insignificant universe in an insignificant corner. I'm like,
Yeah.
that, you know, like when you do affirmations and you tell yourself, you know, like, I'm worthy, I'm
Hmm.
loved. Not that I really do this, but like, you know, that's really good for you to do. And like
Yeah.
when you start telling yourself, my life is pointless, eventually I'm just going to be worm food, like I just don't know, I feel like that just was
No,
that's
you
such
need
a bad,
hope. You need, even
yeah.
if like, I mean, yeah, I will agree with nihilism that, yeah, in 10,000 years from now, everything I do is meaningless. But
But see,
also,
that
I
doesn't sit
can't,
right with
but,
me either.
well, no, but I was gonna say, but also, I'm not 10,000 years, like, I'm here in today, like, I'm
Yeah,
here in 2025. I'm
yeah.
not here, like, thinking of, so I need to live my life. I can't, maybe there is some truth to that, but that's not, like, the way I want to live my life.
But that's a good point you make, because that's again goes back to mindfulness. Like we're in the here and now. What we're
Exactly.
experiencing, yeah. Like, see, that's the thing. Like you have two minds. Again,
Hmm.
another thing I learned was like you have your emotional mind, you have your rational mind.
Yeah.
Now, being rational is obviously benefits humans in many ways. Like if you're planning to, I don't know, build a bridge, well, it's
Mhm.
all logic, right? You're going to be using maths and, you know, engineering, all that stuff, and that's not really any emotions. That's a
Yeah.
logical process. But there are emotions which are important. So, like, you know, if you hurt someone and you see them sad, that emotion is obviously an indicator, and it's an indicator in you. But then there's a wise mind where you factor in the emotional and the rational. Because if we're purely rational, like, let's be honest, purely rational people are like, that's kind of psychopathic way of seeing the world. Like,
No, it's and it's also impossible because we're human. Like that's not even a human way of living.
yeah. But I feel like what was happening was that way of thinking being pushed and encouraged. Like, we're rational beings. Like, let's build a rational society. It's like, wait, hold on a second. Like, what about emotions? What about, you know, things that are not like music is not logical and rational.
No, it's not.
That's art.
I don't
That's
think love.
expression.
I think love is very irrational. Love
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
make any
completely
sense to me.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so deep that it's like, you know, these connections we make, and like, you know, awe, like you look at the world and you feel awe, you're inspired by the beauty, like
There's
you
no
can't
rational way to like look at a sunset
exactly,
or the stars and like have like this
exactly.
higher sense
Why
of
do we
being.
exactly, why do we find that beautiful? Why do we, and that way of thinking, and as we said before, like, I know there are people out there who don't need that. Like, they look at the world as
And
in,
that's
you know,
fine.
Yeah, if it
Yeah, and
works
that's
for you,
fine.
then. But I feel like what started to happen was I do feel like it was becoming like ridiculed to look for higher
Mhm.
purpose and meaning. I do feel that was happening, and that's something I've had to kind of, I've had people who still say to me, like, oh, you just have to accept that there's no meaning. That's it. We're just specks of
I
dust or whatever they say. But I'm pushing back now and I'm like, no, you don't have any evidence that that is the case. Like, you also can't conclusively say there is no God because you don't have all the data in the universe. Like, you can only make a conclusive statement once you have all available data. And we don't even have like, I don't know how.
And also, you're trying to like you're trying to use science to answer an emotional question. Like you're using the wrong tools to begin with.
Yeah,
That's also
yeah.
another because in my opinion, I think agnosticism is the most honest or the most I think honestly, I think that's the one that makes the most sense to
Yeah,
me.
I agree. Ironically, it's the most logical
Yeah, I
conclusion.
think it's in the way
Yeah,
where I think being like this strong theist, like there is a God, because people have done great things in the name of God, but they've also done some of the world's worst atrocities,
yeah,
or in the name of like whatever God you worship.
yeah,
But then also
yeah,
going in the complete opposite direction, you can't prove that there's nothing. You can't
yeah.
prove, you can't, oh, there's nothing in this, because even that's like a very human, man-made. Because, and on top of that, it's funny, even though you like claim not to be religious or whatever, or like a lot of atheists, they kind of use similar tactics where they try to use like either emotional responses or they try to
Yeah,
like say things that are completely unrelated, and then
yeah.
somehow that justifies their point. Where I'm like, if anything, it sounds like you're actually creating your own belief
I
system.
know, I know,
Atheism's a
and
belief system too.
I feel like a lot of people, like Richard Dawkins, kind of being the figurehead, although he's never
Hmm.
come out and claimed to be. But humans being humans, they do attribute, like kind of figureheads and people they
Hmm.
look up to. And I feel like a lot of it was almost like a personality cult, not intentionally, but like people who felt like, oh, I am like one of Rich Dawkins fans, like, oh, I'm his biggest, I've read his books. It automatically made them feel smart, and it made them feel like I'm part of the smart crowd. And to me, that you're falling into the same way of like just following something again from an emotional kind of standpoint, yet trying to claim that this is purely rational when and this is a thing. So you know, I think after leaving religion, or for some people changing religions or
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, it's always important to kind of, and something I've learned is to just, yeah, be mindful and take a step back and think, okay, am I doing what works for me? Am I actually looking for something what works for me? Like, it's okay to want to belong to a community. Don't let
Yeah.
the experience of
Hmm.
horrible religious experience ruin other things out there for you, you know?
I think one thing for me that I've really come to accept more and more is that like when someone asks me a question and like I give them an answer, I'm so used to saying like the answer is five or it's blue or like, this is where this is the correct answer. I think now when it comes to religion, saying I don't know, I think is a, a great answer. Like
Yeah,
I think
and
that
it's completely valid. It's completely valid.
because I always like thought, oh well, Jesus died on the cross and this and that, and I'm like, wait a second, do I believe that Jesus was crucified in like the Judea Roman, like in Judea and Samaria? Yes, like I believe like that is a historical fact. Now, that's where historical Jesus ends. And the thing is, I think like if I were to talk to Christians about this, I think this would be very uncomfortable because as I'm like diving deeper, and also I'm also still figuring out. So I may change my opinion, or I may be completely wrong. But at the moment, it's like there is historical Jesus, but then there's like the Jesus of the Bible. And I think with all these figures, whether it's Mohammed or I don't know like who the main person is in Buddhism, but with all these people
But,
or the Buddha, yeah,
yeah,
Buddha. You see, I don't shows you how much I know.
that's
But
okay.
but no, but all these people, it's like I think they're like historic, like history and religion don't always line up, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly, because it's what you get from it. It's like like you're saying, like, okay, there is a kind of objective historical Jesus that we can
Hmm.
talk about. But like you
Yeah.
said, the religious one is, well, what does the life of Jesus mean to you? How does he
Yeah.
help you to connect to God? Exactly. So I think it's all about, a lot of it is actually detaching from group think. Humans do
Hmm.
this a lot. We can't really help it sometimes because of our evolution. But again, it's about kind of rising above that kind of group way of looking at everything and just being like, it's okay, like we're saying, it's valid to be like, right, this is Jesus, this is what Jesus means to me. Yes, I know there are historical facts, but this
Yeah.
is what he means to me. And yeah, and
And that's beautiful. That's
yeah,
beautiful that you
absolutely.
can whether you don't need things to be historical, or you don't
Yeah,
need to like things like faith is a great thing. Like I
yeah,
think faith is beautiful. All
yeah,
types of faith, not just faith like in Christianity, but in other things that you might believe in also, because I think for me it's like I'm learning, and like when I engage in ex-Muslim spaces, I realize that we all need like we all need something. And I
yeah,
think for a lot of people, religion answers these deep questions that you're not going to find in science. You're not going to find it on
absolutely.
ChatGPT or Google or
Yeah,
wherever. You're not going to find it in your career probably, or in your
yeah,
romantic relationship. Sorry to break it to you. But it's like, and that's okay. Like it's okay to like do something, and it's okay to like gather with people and believe, because I think one of the many problems we face in our society is that things are so, at least in the Western world, things are so individualistic.
yeah, it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And, like we spoke about in 10 Day, it's like you were saying about what religion offers people. And it's like you said, it's a sense of something to actually feel like, you
Hmm.
belong to look
Hmm.
to. But it also, for some people, it's that ritual. I mean, we were speaking about that, how, like when you have a baby or you get
Hmm.
married, like you go to
Or
the
when you
church,
die, yeah, when you
like you
like,
die. All of these rituals are held in religion. And it's because it's being passed down for generation to generation. I think it also has like ancestral meaning to it as well, which is
yeah.
important for humans, like acknowledging your roots almost. And I look at some of the kind of Eastern traditions, like in
Hmm.
Korea and China, Japan, and I love the way they honor their ancestors, because like it's just that way of almost giving thanks and gratitude, which is also really good for your mental health. Gratitude for those that came before, and
Yeah.
honoring them and using rituals that they did for their ancestors is such a powerful, powerful thing. And it's such a shame that, especially here in the West, these things are getting lost. And they practically are lost in so many of our communities. Like, we
Yeah.
lost all that. And but I was going to say though, like, I think I have spoken to people, I'm sure you have too, like, they will find community. Let's just say, I don't know, they belong to a certain sport, or
Yeah.
they have an
Or
activity.
a political group. That's what scares me actually, is
Well,
that
that's
people are, yeah.
yeah, that to me is where the lines start to really get muddied, because I don't
Hmm.
know, politics is such a human kind of game. I don't know if
But people,
finding
it
meaning
does
in
feel
that.
like, yeah, but it
Yeah,
does seem like whether it be like you're woke, as they call it,
yeah,
or if you're like a MAGA person, at least
yeah.
I'm talking about United States because that's my point of reference.
No, but we've
But
we've got the woke thing here in the UK too, and that's a great point you made, because there's clearly a link, and I think there's been many studies. I don't know any off the top of my head, but there's clearly a link between the decline of religion,
mhm.
community, spirituality, and young people heading towards these woke movements. That
And it's, well, actually, and it's interesting you bring this up because there's this book, it's called Bowling Alone. I don't know if you've heard of it. But
no,
basically this guy, he tracked, I think, bowling alleys like attendance, or but basically what he realized is it's like men, because bowling, mainly men bowl.
right?
And yeah, sorry girls, you got to find your own thing. No, but no, but mainly, but he noticed that like that declined like over like for decades.
Yeah,
And he realized that also, like, he also studied like church attendance and all these other community activities. And then yeah, like as like you get more and more into the modern age, these things that typically like you would do communally like declined less and less and less. And I think people are realizing, like Gen Z, I think Gen Z is like the first generation to like, I think they're starting to go back to church, they're starting to convert to Christianity in higher rates. Even
yes,
even though it's different, like there are some nuances, but I think people are realizing that whatever we were taught about just wasn't like, it's not as fulfilling as it's like as it was preached.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Community is everything. Like community is, I think I don't even I believe that at the end of the day, it's like who you are as a person is a result of the people, like the people around who invested or the people around you who invested like their time. Because
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for teachers, if it wasn't for coaches. I grew like I come from a Christian background, but like my youth pastor bought me so many milkshakes. He basically like
Oh,
milkshake evangelism, like the amount of
oh,
strawberry milkshakes I got in high school, and that's like when I think of safety, I think of that. And I
mhm.
think that that's very important. And I
Yeah,
think when people are ex-Muslim or whether they're this or like they're transitioning or you're an ex-Christian or you're leaving Judaism or Hinduism or whatever, I don't know. Some of y'all are Mormons, you know. I'm
mhm.
learning. I got a little bit of a Mormon following out there, so I don't
Oh,
know why.
really?
Shout out to y'all. But if y'all are questioning or Jehovah's Witness, I would say that that community, even if you have some bad experiences or you don't believe it's true, the love you felt was real. Like the love you felt was real. Even like my experiences with Islam, even though I didn't come to the conclusion it was true or whatever, and it's not for me, and I have deep disagreements with the ideology, which I could easily go on. That community was real. I remember one time I went to a mosque, or actually, it's the only time I've ever gone to a mosque.
Mhm.
But this man, he didn't know who I was. He, first of all, like it was during Ramadan and it was Eid, so we were breaking, not Eid, it was during Ramadan. We were breaking our fast. I forget the exact term, but we were breaking our fast in the evening. And
Iftar.
Iftar, yeah, it was
Yeah.
Iftar. Man, this man never met me. And he was like, "What's your name? This is what's going on." And he just showed me such a kindness. Mind you,
Yeah.
I knew all the messed up things of the religion, but I was like,
But that's
even if, yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say, but that's the thing in Tunde. So what happens is, remember earlier we were talking about like truth. You were saying truth is truth. Like
yeah.
love is love.
Yeah,
So what,
exactly.
yeah, so what I think, like you said, that love they're showing you is genuine. But the thing
Mhm.
in religions like Islam, what happens is unfortunately that love can be weaponized. I'm not
Yeah.
saying the believers are aware that they're doing it, but the religion, the ideology definitely pushes people to like really show affection, show Islam through your character, exemplary character, and bring people in that way. That's the way that they give dawah. Whereas we look at that now and we're like, you know what, that love and kindness, should it not just be from a place of genuinely wanting
Yeah.
to, because there's a
And
concept in
also it's
Islam.
like we also know like once you go deeper into Islam, it like that's like that kindness you experience, that's it. Like it gets a bit messed up after that.
Yeah, because there's a concept in Islam of doing everything for the sake of Allah,
Mhm.
because even loving someone in Islam, you're supposed to do it for the sake of Allah. So
Yeah.
it puts a kind of psychological
It's like
block a
it's
little bit.
conditional.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like you made a great point because you're like, that love is still genuine. I do
Yeah.
believe that. It's the ideology telling those people, okay, bring people in, but then once you love someone, remember it's not truly for that person, it's for God. So it's weaponizing that love and twisting it into something which is not human, because
And it makes me sad because like I
yeah,
actually I would, for the rest of my life, I would go back to that mosque and do iftar for like I would
yeah,
if it was just like, hey, this is a thing we do, like anyone can come, I would love to, but and that's like what really conflicts me about Islam in particular because it's not like all the other religions I've looked into where
yeah,
it's like we're like, yeah, there's some similarities, but then there's a darkness. I almost
really,
want to put it in like its own category because of like the dark aspects of it.
yeah, and the power, the grip it
Mhm.
has on people, because
Mhm.
I mean, it even says about itself that it's a deen. It's actually almost more than a religion. It's like this way of life, which truly is transformative. Anywhere it goes, it just has this presence. And
No, it does.
like but like we were saying, you know what? Like the good thing about humans is, like you're saying, if we have an iftar, like I guess with Islam, you made a good point because Islam is kind of unique in this way because
Yeah.
it is so such a strong ideology. But like,
Mhm.
why can't we like have meals together with
Exactly.
Muslims and enjoy it and just make it about, and we do, like, I think that's a good thing. It's like detaching, like I have no issue with Muslims as people
Me
at all.
too. I criticize
I would-
Islam. I don't criticize.
Exactly.
I
I
have a
would
deep
still go to
love
an
for
iftar.
and
Yeah,
I want Muslims to practice their religion, even if I deeply disagree with it. I want them to feel safe and practice their
yeah,
religion, even if
exactly. They have
it
the
may
right
not be
to.
for me.
Yeah, they have the right to. And like we said, like if I got invited to an iftar, if you did, I'm sure you'd have no issue
Of
joining
course not.
because we can do that. We can enjoy human, company, and it doesn't have to be about the religion. Even if those people want it to be, we don't have to
Yeah, I don't.
actually follow
Yeah.
that.
Because and it's funny, it's like I was like, man, like if I didn't have such deep like moral problems with Islam, I would actually incorporate some of the practices and also the way they pray is weird. I'm not gonna the whole like it's like a terrible yoga. It's really
It's
bad
it's
yoga.
interesting because I think it just originates from a kind of Zoroastrian, don't
Whatever it
quote me on
originates
that,
in,
but it comes
Muhammad
from
needs to go
yeah,
back to yoga. Man needs to go back to yoga school because I'm not like it's like a burpee. I don't know if you know what a burpee is.
yeah,
But
or a downward dog kind of,
Done with
but
yeah,
like,
and I'm just
yeah.
like, but like in all seriousness, I'm just like, man, like there are things about this I actually wouldn't mind incorporating in my life, but the problem is, it's like I had the boundary where I'm like, no, like I I'm gonna look at this like from a distance because
Mhm.
while there's some things I would love to incorporate, there are other things like the treatment of women, the treatment
I
of
know,
children, the way
I
of
know.
animals. So I
That's
was
where
just like,
I'm at too. It's like I sometimes look back and, I love the community sense is nice, but then
yeah,
you always have to remember who invented this religion and his
yeah,
character is so awful. It just puts you off. You're like, you know what? And I always say that as well these days. That's what I bring it back to because many people will try and say, "Oh, you can't prove this, you can't prove that," and you're like, "Fair enough." But I can look at the character of Muhammad and say, "Do you know what? That is not a man I want to follow at all." He did so many things, and the worst things he did are some of the probably like some of the worst things humans can do. So that's where I'm like, no, like that's where I draw
and
the line.
yeah, and that's like that's my thing is it's like and that's the thing with Islam is Muhammad is this awkward like he's the elephant in the room. Like he's the elephant
His
where
presence, yeah, he's like
Mhm.
I don't know what
Be-
to call it. He's like, goddamn, yeah, yeah,
because it's like and it's funny it's like because all the things like all the good things I was talking about my experience had nothing to do with Muhammad. But the
yeah,
problem is it's like you can't have like you can't have Islam without Muhammad. So as
exactly,
long
exactly.
as those two are commingled, it's like you can't like
That's right.
it's not going to change. It's not and
That's
I
right.
think that's like the hard thing cuz I end up having arguments with people when I told them like my opinions of Islam where they're like, "Oh, well actually," and where I get gaslit and I'm like, "I'm not even like an ex-Muslim. I'm not a like," and I'm like, "Why are you gaslighting me?"
I
And I'm
know,
just
but isn't that amazing? Well, I don't know if amazing is the right word, but
yeah, no, it's yeah.
that's what the Dawa people have intended is to get non-Muslims repeating their sound bites and, like you said, gaslighting other
Yeah.
people
And it's
unintentionally.
funny when women gaslight me
I
where I'm like,
know,
"Hey,"
I
and I
know,
show them like, "Hey, this is what they say about you," and "Oh, well, actually," and I'm like, and
I
these people
know,
are like the wokest, most feminist, and
I
I'm like,
know.
"Wait, what?"
It's scary though, isn't it? Because imagine how powerful an ideology is when you've got even non-believers repeating your selling points. Like that shows you how hard they have hammered this point home.
Honestly, I need to go to the Mohammed School of Marketing because like people are not this passionate about me. Like, what is going on?
I don't know either. To be honest, like I spoke to you about it before, how
Mhm.
I am not too sure what really is at the heart. I mean, I'm talking in terms of like spirituality here and I
Yeah,
guess
people that like
energy.
or gaslight or defend or
Yeah,
like
but I'm saying like I believe at the heart of Islam itself, like what it manifests, what it cultivates, like there's I think we've said it before, I do believe in kind of energetic kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
whether it's humans
Yeah,
generating
some people
their
think it's like an
behavior.
evil demon or like an
Some
emo
say
like
that, some say
yeah.
that, but I personally am not, I don't know, but I'm just saying whatever it kind of manifests and what it cultivates at its core, it's powerful stuff. And
I think it's
yeah,
I think it's also very destructive. I think it's one of the most destructive. Like when
uh,
I because when I look at a place before and after Islamization, it's like night and day of what it just.
it just takes over. It does, as I always say, it doesn't bend the knee to anything, and
Mm-mm.
it's carried on that tradition for like 1,400 years. You know, if you sit down with Muslims, like practicing, observing Muslims,
Yeah.
they have, you know, their faith teaches them to have this like ultra confidence that they got it right. So why would they change? Because they think they are on the absolute truth. This is not the interpreted word of God. This is God's speech.
Yeah,
So
it's the
they're not.
literal. Yeah, it is the like the Quran is the literal, and then Muhammad
Exactly.
is the final messenger
Yeah,
of that.
everything is
And
very like it's
yeah,
all like yeah. So, but yeah, but you know, as we said at the start of this, you know, these are all the kind of things about Islam which gets you hooked. But once you've made that really brave decision to leave and you've been, you know, you've done all
and
the
you, Ellie, you are so brave. Oh my
you know
gosh,
what,
no.
don't Teddy, I look at the people though who are born into it as well, who let's just say, because I've heard, you know, I've read stories, I've heard people you know, who live in places like Afghanistan who, you know, maybe even just in their head because they can't say this out loud, but imagine how brave those people are living under a Sharia, like kind of under Sharia control, and they take that step to actually leave.
Well,
To
and
me,
here's the thing, their bravery, I'm not here to measure the magnitude.
oh, of
It's all
course, of
bravery.
course, of course.
It's all
Yeah,
bravery.
yeah,
Because Ellie, like as like I learned more about your story, just the things you've had to overcome. Because guys, I'm telling, she's a trooper, y'all. She's a real one. The things that she's had to go to get here, and even other ex-Muslim stories. I employ like the whole everybody who's watching this, especially if you watch to this point, because I have to hand it to you because we're kind of deep in the video. But no, like like when I interacted with the ex-Muslim community, I had such a deep respect because for me, at any time, like I can leave Christianity. My parents won't. They'll just be like, like as long we just
yeah,
like I might have a dinner for Easter and get some presents for Christmas, but it's not like my life doesn't really change significantly. But it's
yeah,
not like that in Muslim, especially in Muslim households where they can
yeah.
like face excommunication. Some people get beaten. Some like there's some legal repercussions
It can get
depending on.
really, really bad, like seriously bad. And but the thing is, like I think a really nice thread that's been kind of throughout our discussion is about
Mm,
truth.
yeah,
And one thing about truth is that sticking to it. So, like, when people, this is a beauty of humanity and life itself.
yeah,
Like, you know, yeah, I think you said it in this video, Tende, that we have a compass inside of us, like human intuition. We know in our gut when something isn't right. And when we're
yeah.
forced to, yeah, align ourselves with an ideology which we don't believe in anymore, it's like the brave people come out and they're like, you know what? We got to speak about this because who else is going to do it? That's the beauty of humanity. When we can see there's something out there which is destroying lives, which is, you know, people are, like you said, so much is happening to them. They actually come out and they're like, no, we're going to use our human voice to combat this darkness.
And that's one of my favorite things, actually. I think this was in your first video, is when you talked about cognitive dissonance,
Oh,
about
yeah.
not having like how you can't have competing beliefs. And
No,
that at one
exactly.
point, like a belief system will over like when
Yeah.
you have two competing beliefs, something will win. And I
Yeah.
love how like for you and for many others, that the belief system that won was them saying, Islam's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, but as we say, it's uh, people, I understand why they can't leave openly or why they're scared to
Yeah.
because it's dangerous. But for those that do, it's a really brave, courageous decision, which will, you know, I hope the world can hear more stories. And this is the thing today for
I think
you.
this is just the big I really think this is just the
Yeah.
beginning.
But you know what? People like yourself and Tende, that's why I see you as such a wonderful like member and ally and support of the community because you had
Yes,
your own
ma'am.
close call with Islam. Thank
Yeah.
God you didn't convert, but like you're now actually using your voice and your like position living in the West, like us, like you know, access to technology,
Mhm.
internet, to share the stories too. And that's exactly what the world needs. We need other humans in other communities to like hear these stories and start speaking out to safely, only if you're safe to do so.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is when humanity can use our there's something about humanity which can be powerful, and I think you're an example of like giving your strength and your intelligence and your energy, like, and using it for good. So I just want to say thank you as well
No, thank you.
for being such a support.
And I think, yeah, we're gonna wrap it up.
Hmm.
But I just want to not only say thank you, Ellie, for your time and all the like, not only for all your videos, but just all the positivity and kindness you've shown towards me and bravery, because just people like you kind of also give me inspiration. Like
Oh,
I
thank
can't, like I
you.
get so happy, like when the notification pops up for either live or whenever I tell 'em, like I even tell, yes, my friends even know about, my friends even know about you. So,
That's okay.
yeah, you're
Thank
kind of,
you.
you're
Yeah.
in my little circle, like you're kind, like I call you my British older sister. So yeah, so
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
yeah,
Intensity. And it's been wonderful having this conversation. And I love
yeah,
the way it just flowed. Like I always say, just
of
like a river,
course,
it's just taking the course that it needs to. And
exactly,
you actually also, just as we end this video, I want to say
yeah,
thank you so much for actually speaking about like reestablishing your kind of idea about the world or
of
exploring,
course,
because that's such a hopeful message in Tende that you're like, you've created a really like hopeful, just so much light in this topic that you've brought today. And I just think that's great, because we can always, I understandably so, there's a lot of sadness to dwell on, but there's just, it's great to hear you bring
hmm,
these topics. So thank you
yeah.
again. It's been great.
No, yeah, no, thank you, because and Ellie, also, you're more than what, please, I almost want to, maybe I'll rebrand my name Intende plus Ellie. No, but you're more than welcome to come back. You're
Oh,
more
I'll be
than
back here. We will
you're
have more chats for
no,
definite, for
no, I don't
definite.
like
And
this is
hopefully maybe like on my channel we'll organize
yeah, of
something
course,
too.
whatever
And
you're comfortable
like
with.
we'll do
Yeah.
another transatlantic, like,
Yes,
transatlantic.
across the pond.
Yeah.
Yes. No, yeah, so no, please, like, y'all can, I'll link her, because her channel's really, it's just Ellie, it's just her name. It's
Just
nothing.
my name, because you know
Yeah.
why? Because I don't really want to like um I don't want to actually kind of like associate my channel. Like I'm just trying to like right now just share my story. So
You're an
although yes, I
individual.
do,
You're an individual.
yeah, I do talk about like leaving Islam as a convert, but the reason I just kind of put my name was just because I kind of want to bring everyone, like I don't want people to feel like, oh, only a certain, like Xmas. No, my channel really is just about open dialogue, so
Yeah.
everyone is welcome to come and watch. And that's why it's just my name,
Yeah,
because
and it's just, yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, is there anything else you want to plug, or is there any?
No, I think that's
Okay.
everything for now. So yeah,
Yeah, okay, okay. No, but yeah, thank you so much. This is, the first, first of many, we'll see where things go,
definitely.
but no, this was such
Definitely. This
a
has been
fun
great.
time,
It's
and
been great.
thank you all. And then,
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me in 10 day, and I'll say goodbye to everyone watching, and thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
okay, thanks for watching this video. If you liked, please like and subscribe. My socials will be linked down below and at the end of this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.